From under the Golden Dome in Charleston, this is the West Virginia Capitol Report.
Hello everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Capitol Report Show. I'm Bill Laird along with co-host Dave Perry, and we have a very interesting and timely show lined up for you today. As we all know, West Virginia is getting ready to celebrate a birthday, June 20th, constituting the 157th year since the formation of the state of West Virginia on June 20th, 1863, and a lot of activities and events perhaps around the state. But we have two real special guests joining us today in recognition of kind of the culture and history of the state of West Virginia. We're pleased to be joined by Mr. John Wyatt, who is a native of Greenbrier County, Rainelle, West Virginia, more specifically, a member of the town council over there, but really a great musician, somebody who is dedicated, David, and spent a good bit of time being, concerned about the historical traditions in the state of West Virginia, some of our cultural heritages, and again, real pleased to have John Wyatt with us here today. And we're also going to be joined by the secretary or the commissioner of the Division of Culture and History, Randall Reid-Smith, no stranger to the Capitol Report Show. And again, the Division of Culture and History charged with the responsibilities of preserving our historical traditions and a lot of the heritage in the state of West Virginia. So again, a very appropriate program in advance of the 157th birthday of the state of West Virginia. So I'd like to welcome to the Capitol Report Show John Wyatt, who's as you say, has his guitar in hand. And John, welcome to the Capitol Report Show. Glad to have you with us here today.
Thank you, Bill. It's good being here. Being here.
Well, and again, you hail from, at least in my opinion, one of the great small towns in the state of West Virginia, Rainelle. It's just a lot of history in that part of Greenbrier County, western Greenbrier County. But again, when I think of Rainelle, I think about resilience. You all have been hammered with a lot of floodwaters and other types of adversities over the year, but there's just something about the spirit of Rainelle that just seems to be embedded in that community over there.
There is, Bill, and it's a spirit that began with our early forefathers. Perhaps back even before the Civil War, before we became a state. Rainelle and that area, even though it wasn't called Rainelle, our namesake came from the Raines brothers who built Meadow River Lumber Company, but it was part of that trail or road that went east and west across the mountains. And my grandfather came there about 1820 to Sewell Mountain, which was named after, of course, Samuel Sewell. But that was quite an interesting life that he led. During the Civil War, the Union Army camped on my grandfather's land, and there was a plan put in effect, probably by both sides, whether it was Union or the Confederacy. But my grandfather had two sons fighting in the Union Army and three in the Confederacy, and so their plan was to probably kill my grandfather. Now that would be 4 generations back, so I would say grandfather. But he found out about the plan, and he went down to a little place in the mountains there and hid out in the Old Rock Camp. And that Old Rock Camp played a real significance in my life, but I won't have time to tell that here today. But I am Scotch-Irish. His name was Kenny. He came over from Ireland. And I tell people I'm Scotch-Irish and North Carolina bootlegger on my dad's side. So anyway, but I'm not going to sing a West Virginia song today, but I'm going to sing a song that's affecting all of us, whether you're West Virginian or whether you're from Kentucky or Missouri or California. There's this virus that just it is such an ugly thing, and it's just changed our nation and changed the way we do things, the way we approach things, the way we live our lives. And so this is just a little song I wrote about the virus.
Great.
I'll sing it for you.
Okay.
The year was 2020 when I turned 21. And I planned to go and see the world, but then the virus come. It came and took my grandpa and my mama too. This world will be a sadder place if I turn 22. You came and took my family. You came and took my dream. You came across the ocean, an enemy unseen. Corona-19 virus is what they now call you. This world will be a different place if I turn 22. You've shut down all our factories, shops, schools, and churches too. The pandemic is upon us and we don't know what to do. Millions are without a job, we stand in bread lines too. This world will be a fearful place if I turn 22. But I remember Woody Guthrie and the songs he used to sing. We're all in this together and we can beat this thing. We'll rise up from the ashes. This land is your land too. And we'll make this world a better place when I turn 22. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island. From the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for me and you.
Wow.
Very good, John. Very good.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
And not only is Rainelle a town that's built to survive, that's one of the themes that we have for our little community there, but this land, this place we call America. When my grandfather came here from Ireland, he had a dream to come to a place to where, to have a better life. And this virus has, it's taken away a lot of those dreams. I kind of had a dream to go back to Ireland this summer and see my forefathers' home place over there, which I won't do because of the virus. And because I am a musician and a folklorist, I had plans for the West Virginia birthday next week, and those plans, I won't be doing that. You know, we had planned on some different functions, and I usually played at Tamarack or somewhere during that time, and we won't be doing that. So it's changed. It's changed our entire. But Rainelle has seen difficulties in the past. In 1969 and 70, our town was named after two Rains brothers. Their last name was Rains, and who came from Pennsylvania by way of probably Tucker County and Pocahontas County, and came and purchased uh, 70 or 80,000 acres of virgin timber in the Rainelle area. And these men had a vision, and they built the mill, which became the largest hardwood mill in the world. And around that mill, they built a city, built a town, churches and schools and all the things that make a community productive. And they were, and that was before the Depression, the 1930s. They made it through the Second World War and the Korean War and Vietnam, and but then because of 1969, there was a strike with some of the employees, and then 70, the stockholders chose to sell the mill, and that was a blow to our community. I mean, there was 500, 600, 700 men and women who worked there, and it was a real blow. But we survived that. We continued on. Then in 1993, the interstate system bypasses. We were on U.S. Route 60 or James River Kanawha Turnpike or whatever you want to call it, the Midland Trail, which today is a scenic highway. But most of the traffic going east and west came through Rainelle, so we still had a lively business from tourists and from those traveling through. But in '93, that stopped, and so I thought, man, this is a big blow, you know, and it's going to really affect our town. And other things happened through the years, the derecho, the flood of 2003. But in 2016, which we're getting ready to, next week will also not just be our state's birthday, but it'll be the anniversary of the 1,000-year flood, which just devastated Rainelle, and many of the residents there perished in the flood. And I thought, this is the final blow. I mean, I really did. I'm not normally a pessimist, but I looked at our town and I thought, I don't know whether we could weather this storm or not. But something happened, Bill, in that, something, I wouldn't say mysterious, but something that's real, that indomitable spirit that people of Appalachia and people of West Virginia and people of America have had through the years. And I saw neighbor begin to help neighbor. And all the volunteers that came in from all over the country, thousands of them who came in and became a part of that flood recovery for our town. And a spark of something brand new sprung up within our community and with the people in our community. And that volunteer spirit, that giving spirit, that loving spirit, it took hold in a strong way in our town. And I'm so proud of the people of our community. And I still am today. We like every other town, every other small rural town in Appalachia, we're in West Virginia, we're struggling. We're struggling through this virus. We've had shops closed and businesses closed, and and all the things that everyone else is experiencing. So we're not in this alone. We're all in this together, and so we're going on.
Well, again, resilience, I think, is a term that always comes to mind, and you're exactly right. The closure of the Meadow River Lumber Company.
Yeah.
Wow, what that basically defined that town. But again, I think part of the spirit of Rainelle was built to survive, and that can really be found in the heart and soul of the residents. It's the people that make the town, and you just have every reason in the world to be proud of that
Yes,
community.
I do, and I don't know how much more time we have, but Jamie Sheehan, she's a professor up at WVU. She came down and did a study of the effects of the flood just after the flood took place. Now 4 years later, she's coming back, and she was going to take a study of our town 4 years later, but instead, she's going to do a study on the effects of the coronavirus on small town rural communities. And that begins this week, and I'm looking forward to working with her on that.
And again, unfortunately, our time has expired, John, but really want to thank you for sharing that song with us. Really inspirational, and I think indicative of our Scotch-Irish heritage here in this area. And again, your continued good work in preserving our culture and history in western Greenbrier County. So again, happy birthday, West Virginia.
Happy birthday, West Virginia.
Thanks for joining us today on the
By the way, my birthday's next week too, so we can celebrate that too if you want to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Good to see you, my friend.
Good seeing you.
We're going to go ahead and take a quick break and be right back with the Commissioner of the Division of Culture and History, Randall Reid-Smith. You won't want to miss that. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. The West Virginia Capitol Report will be right back. The West Virginia Capitol Report is brought to you by the AFL-CIO of West Virginia, Cucumber and Company, online at cucumberandcompany.com, and Mark Hunt and Associates, toll free at 800-554-1280. From under the Golden Dome in Charleston, this is the West Virginia Capitol Report.
Welcome back to the Capitol Report as we continue our special edition, the birthday of the great state of West Virginia, upcoming the 157th birthday. Again, West Virginia having been created on June 20th, 1863. And we're real pleased to have with us today, Dave, a good friend of ours, a good friend of the Capitol Report show, a gentleman who really is sort of at the tip of the spear as far as the preservation of culture, history, the arts, all those things that define, the real cultural fabric of the state of West Virginia. Our good friend, Randall Reid-Smith, who is the commissioner and curator of the Department of Culture and History for the state. So
Almost. Arts. Culture and history.
Arts, okay. But again, welcome to the Capitol Report show.
Thank you, Senator. It's nice to see you again.
You bet. And again, just right on the threshold of a birthday celebration for the state. Certainly the pandemic, the coronavirus has had a chilling effect on a lot of the fairs and festivals and other things that really are in the wheelhouse of some of the great events we have during the summer. But are we going to be able to do anything other than sit at home and sing happy birthday, or is there
we are celebrating West Virginia.
Okay.
We will have a remote West Virginia celebration, and it's from all over the state. I'll be with the governor. We are going to cut a cake. We have the bishop from the diocese up in Wheeling, Charleston, Wheeling. He's from Wheeling. He's doing a blessing. Rabbi Urecki from the temple in Charleston. Reverend Dr. Watts from down in Charleston has given us a blessing. And then we have all of the public works officers stopping in to say happy birthday and to inspire us all. And we've got music. We've got everything planned.
Yeah, that's good. And again, sometimes conditions are such you have to be innovative and come up with ways in which to still carry on, I suppose.
Well, we're the ones that find the solutions.
That's I know we can count on you.
Randall, of course, we're excited about West Virginia and 157 years, and sounds like you've got a fabulous program going, but you're also celebrating the second annual date of the Department of Arts and Culture. And history.
There you go. I'm going to teach you all for our lead.
Absolutely.
Yes, on June 8th was the second anniversary of the West Virginia Department of Arts, Culture, and History. And we're very excited. Things have just grown. As you may remember, back in the legislative session in 2018, there was a reorganization, I like to say, of the arts, and the governor insisted that we have a Department of the Arts. And so we came out as the Department of Arts, Culture, and History. It is the Division of Culture and History with the Arts, Archives, Historic Preservation, and Museums. And it is public broadcasting, both radio and TV. It is all 171 libraries, and it's volunteer services. So I like to say we have the fine arts, the performing arts, the literary arts, the media arts, and at volunteer services, the art of giving. And we've been doing it 2 years, and the governor and the legislators, when they created us, they increased our budget 20%, and because of that 20% back in that fiscal year, we got more money from the federals, which we had to match. So for the last 3 years, we've had an increase in arts. And the most important thing is to know that we put all that together, saved $2.6 million from cost, but did not lose $1 for any of the arts, and we've just increased more.
And you were able to draw down a large number of federal dollars as a result of that as well.
Because of what we did that first year, they actually invited us. Donald Trump's number 2 person at the National Endowment of the Arts called me up, wanted to know how we were doing it, invited me over to talk to the National Council on the Arts, where they do the granting. And then the next year they came to West Virginia to see what we did in West Virginia, and they have increased our budget each year. And so that just means more matching funds that we increase in the state budget, and it is the ultimate, vitality for communities, the ultimate employment to get jobs, local jobs going. If you don't have strong arts, you're not going to have strong communities.
And of course, with the coronavirus, you've been quite involved on the educational aspect as well through public broadcasting.
Public broadcasting has worked very hard with the Department of Education. We're working on tutorial videos. As you know, in your position on the State Board of Education, we collaborate a lot with the Department of Education. You all been good to help supplement our budget for education enhancements, and we've been working every day and trying to keep all of our programs going. And we're all set for the fall. We're just going to wait and get schools open, and we're going to go at it again.
Great, great.
Randall, I know you always like to give credit to folks. And in our first segment, we had a gentleman from Rainelle, John Wyatt, who I think is an example of a person from a small community who has a real appreciation and understanding of the history and culture that are to be found in a community in western Greenbrier County. It seems like a lot of communities throughout West Virginia really have motivated people that are dedicated to the preservation of the arts, and some of our art communities here locally, Fayetteville, Lewisburg, Hinton has some good things going in terms
Absolutely.
of downtown revitalization. All those things, I guess, come together, and part of what you do is cheer on those people that have that real deep commitment and interest in our culture heritage. Is that fair?
Well, they are all the experts. I'm just a cheerleader. And, look at Rainelle. What we need to realize, at one time, that was the largest producer of hardwoods in the world. Meadow River Lumber Company, very, very important. Look at Fayetteville, what they've done with the arts and with whitewater rafting. When I came in, can you believe I've been at this 14 years? And I did this exhibits right off the bat. It was West Virginia's Gift to the World. So we did an exhibit on rafting. To me, that is culture. And look what rafting has done for our state. And of course, we take care of Camp Washington Carver up here. We're very sad about having to postpone string band until next year. But when you have 50 states represented in 14 countries, we have to protect this community. So, but everybody in the arts, especially up in this part of the, this neck of the woods, it's great.
Yeah.
We work hand in hand with them.
Well, let me ask this. I guess is a serious question. Let's say this year, there are some changes that have to occur because of the situation we find ourselves in.
Mm-hmm.
Let's hope this is a transitory condition that goes away next year. But I noticed the other day, I think they canceled railroad days in Hinton, and some of these great community fairs and festivals. What can we do to try to ensure that this is just kind of a period in which they reload and that we not have casualties as a result of having to postpone or otherwise not have fairs and festivals this year. Have you all talked about that and given some attention to it?
Absolutely. And we've worked with both House and Senate Finance on fairs and festivals funding. Fairs and festivals is great for communities. It is seed money to have economic development in those areas. We do Vandalia. We had to postpone Vandalia, but we're going to try to do a Vandalia in the fall because it's important that we continue the traditions. And if we can't, for some reason, continue, we need to continue to talk about these traditions and prepare for the next year. And, you know, we're not doing any changes. We're just finding solutions. Because, you know, people, when they try to change something, it stays the same. So we just make it better
Right.
and improve it. So we have looked at, and of course, fairs and festivals is housed in culture and history for the funding. And we, every day, work with somebody who's very concerned about their fairs and festivals.
The West Virginia Capitol Report is brought to you by the AFL-CIO of West Virginia, Cucumber and Company, online at cucumberandcompany.com, and Mark Hunt and Associates, toll free at 800-554-1280.
Welcome back to the Capitol Report show as we close out today's program, and again a special edition program, the upcoming 157th birthday of the great state of West Virginia. And David, John Wyatt, boy, what an interesting man who has a true sense of history of Western Greenbrier County. And hey, Randall Reid-Smith, he's always there leading the charge.
Very exciting, and of course, when it comes to arts and culture, there's no better.
Again, Dave, happy birthday, West Virginia.
Happy birthday.
And again, like to thank you all for tuning us in each week as we bring you up-to-date information affecting you and the communities in which you live. So again, thanks for tuning us in on the Capitol Report. Have a good week, and goodbye, everybody.